Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be part one of a multi-part series of getting my corals ready for the frag show and just kind of putting everything together. So let's get to it. So with the frag show coming up in pretty much 1 month, it's time to kind of get everything ready for the frag shows. That's including the tanks, as well as all the coral. So in the next few parts, we're going to go ahead and put everything together, and I'm going to kind of show you that whole process. So in the last week, I went ahead and purchased this frag tank. I got it from a local vendor, Villains Reef Exotics, who is a pretty well-known vendor here in Vegas. Luckily, he had this available, and I didn't have to kind of go buy new. So I did save a few dollars by purchasing it, but this will essentially be the biggest purchase that I'll have to make for the frag show itself. Luckily, everything else, for example, these racks I am reusing, as well as the heater, and then the lights are going to be the Reef LED 90s from my frag tank. So I'll be removing those closer to the frag show date and then getting them onto this tank. Now, what I plan on doing, which you'll see later on, is I do plan on essentially putting all these zoas onto this rack here. I plan on having kind of like a little mushroom cup kind of area that'll just be full of mushrooms on little rocks, and people will be able to just kind of pick them out and you just drop them into a bag. So that's why this area is kind of open here. And then I do plan on, for example, like any torches or hammers just to go into this empty spot right here, since most of those plugs have flat bases, and that'll just be, you know, just like the larger pieces of coral from this tank. But that'll be a pretty good tank. It's only about 6 inches tall, so it'll be a really good frag tank. And I do plan on keeping this for future frag shows as well. Obviously, so I don't have to keep rebuying tanks, you know, every year. And I do plan on doing frag shows in the future just because I think it'll be fun. I mean, obviously, we'll see after this frag show itself, but it should be something, you know, enjoyable to do at least once or twice a year. Now, the next tank is actually more interesting. This one, you'll see what I'm going to do with it in the future for the frag show. I'm not going to tell you guys right now. But basically, this one is an innovative marine 5-gallon tank. They do actually sell this on their website. I don't know if they still do, but I know they definitely did before. And the cool thing about this frag tank is I actually purchased this from Macna. And when I got this at Macna, it actually came with a stand. Now, Innovative Marine doesn't actually make this stand. It's something they kind of made just for the store itself. But it is kind of a cool, one-of-a-kind piece. So it just sits right on top. It's definitely kind of unique, just kind of like a cute little frag tank. But I do have some special things I'm going to do with this, and like I said, you'll see that in a future episode. I am just going to run it with a basic Marineland filter that just use one of those little bio wheel things with carbon. It'll be, you know, good enough flow for this tank just for the show. And then I do kind of have a PAR 38 LED light, and it gives good pop, but not a lot of PAR, but that's fine because what I'm going to use it for, I'm hoping to get a lot of pop, a lot of color, which will really make it stand out once we get it into the frag show. But basically, it'll just be these 2 tanks for the show. I don't think I would need another tank. This one itself is already pretty big. It's about 32 inches at least. And I should be able to fit everything in there. And to be honest, I kind of like the more packed look. It makes the tank look fuller, which kind of makes people want to buy more, in my opinion. But yeah, that should be super fun. It'll be just these 2 cute little tanks. And hopefully everything goes well there. Now, as far as coral goes for the show, now I do have obviously all of these corals here in my actual frag tank for the S1000. So we'll be cutting some of these mushrooms in the back right there. I do plan on cutting these blondies pretty soon, but obviously I already have a whole bunch of zoas that have been growing out. And I do plan on just selling, you know, big chunks. Each of them has 5-6 polyps. And I feel like that's a better way to sell coral instead of just like one polyp here and there. First of all, the buyers get a better bang for the buck, and it makes it a lot easier to sell when it's not just one zoa on a plug. And of course, I do have some SPS here. I will be cutting more SPS out of the display as well, but basically everything in here I am going to be trying to sell at the frag swap. Now in the other sump that I use as a frag tank, obviously you can see it's pretty empty right now except for obviously these little figurines. Once I do cut corals from the main display, which are just going to be mostly just some SPS here and there, I do plan on putting them in here just to heal for the meantime. That's why I've gone ahead and emptied out everything into the other tank, but that should be plenty of coral for the frag show overall. I will also be selling these leathers here, so I have 3 of them. They're nice and plump. I do have one more in the main display that I'm going to keep just to grow out and have, you know, cuttings for future sales, but these 3 guys will be at the sale as well. Now in the next episode, we are going to go ahead and start cutting coral. Obviously, most of my coral are frags at this point, but there were quite a few colonies that did come in from the previous tank. So we have, for example, this rainbow millie that I am going to go ahead and cut a few chunks out of. We have this little pearlberry acro in the back. And then we do have, basically they're all just sticks that I'm cutting. So the red dragon, PC rainbow. We'll be cutting a few hammers as well. These are like the rainbow type of hammers. They look really nice as well. We are going to go ahead and cut my big space invader in the back just because that guy always grows super fast, so I'll have plenty of those frags. We may cut one of these holy grail torches. I've had it for quite a while. There's about 2 heads that I can kind of lop off, but I may just use that for that special project I mentioned and maybe not for sale, just kind of for show. And then we do, for example, just have some other kind of sticks that we're going to end up getting rid of. But that'll be it pretty much for this episode. Like I mentioned, the next episode, we're going to go ahead and start fragging everything. I just want to kind of show you guys what the setup of the tank is going to be for the frag show. So I'll have those 2 cute little tanks. But that's pretty much it for today. Thank you guys for watching as always, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.